I'm considering doing a bundle with two very similar but slightly different products. Currently, I'm trying to find a manufacturer who can provide both products and handle the shipping. But if I cannot find one manufacturer to do both, is it feasible to use two manufacturers who would handle the shipping and packaging in that scenario? There's a few different ways that you can go about this. Let's say you're trying to sell a bundle of a notepad and a pen, but you want to sell them together. So you're selling like a little notepad pen bundle as your product. Well, these are pretty different products. So there's a high chance that the supplier who makes pens in China, we'll just say China, for example, the person who makes pens in China is not the same factory that makes notepads in China. They might come from different factories, very likely. So how do you go about handling the logistics of that? The first way to do it would be you find a pen supplier in China somewhere. You find a notepad supplier in China somewhere. You have them both make their products, a blue pen and a white notepad, and you have them ship it to you where you assemble them. So you would have to order poly bags or a shrink wrap machine or whatever it is that you're going to use to bundle these together and sell them. That's one option that you could do. That's probably my least preferred option, for obvious reasons of trying to manage doing all that yourself. Second option, which is a little bit better option, is find a pen supplier in China, find a notepad supplier in China. You have them ship your products to a fulfillment center. So fulfillment centers a lot of times will be able to do packaging for you. The fulfillment center that we just signed with can do packaging of products. So for example, like if our bandanas didn't come in their plastic poly bag like this, we could have our suppliers just ship a huge box of all the different designs. And then our fulfillment center would take them, assemble them, put them in a poly bag, put the label on, even print custom poly bags. They could do all that for us. Obviously, there's a cost for that, and that cost is going to be higher than if you did it in China. So the pro to that versus the con is you're not doing it yourself. So that's going to save you a lot of time, and they can do it in a professional way so that it looks good versus you doing it yourself. It might look like you did it yourself. So that's the second option, a little bit better than the first, but still not my favorite. The preferred method, in my opinion, would be to find a pen supplier in China, find a notepad supplier in China, communicate very clearly with both of those suppliers. Which supplier you are more confident in, which supplier has more capabilities for packaging, and just simply explain to them that you are going to sell a bundle. Or you need a bundle. You need a bundle of a pen and a notepad. And if you have separate suppliers for those, tell them I have a pen supplier, or tell them I have a notepad supplier also in China. And just simply ask them what the best method is for bundling the two products. And you'll get an idea for which of the two suppliers is the one that you want to actually bundle your product. The interesting thing that a lot of people don't know when they communicate on Alibaba to representatives is a lot of those factories, suppliers are trading companies. So they're not necessarily a factory. Let me see if I can pull up Alibaba right here and maybe we can find an example. I'll just type in pen and see what comes up. So when we're looking at a lot of these different factories, you can click on like the name of the factory and you can find out if they're a trading company or a factory. So a lot of times they'll tell you, like we'll have LTD right here that's telling us this is a trading company versus a manufacturing factory. So that's something that a lot of people don't know is you might actually be talking to a trading company who works with different factories. So that's something that can be beneficial is if you're working with a trading company, they can have access a lot of times to multiple different factories to help you source different products, especially if they're related. So if you go through a trading company that deals with pens, you might have good success reaching out to them and saying, hey, we love your pens. We want to order whatever the pen is that you like. We're also looking for a notepad. Can you help us find a factory that can make us a notepad so we can put it together as a bundle? And they can do a little bit of sourcing on your behalf. We have done this personally with our own business. We have a trading company that we have a really good relationship, and we just simply ask them. They don't make the specific product that we're trying to, source, but we tell them what we want, and they go out and they get different options for us, and they like kind of do the sourcing on our behalf because we're kind of giving them our business for like the packaging and prep and ultimately the bundle because we're going to buy their pens. So they're willing to kind of help you with that. So that's one thing you can do. Go through a trading company and ask them for recommendations, ask them to potentially give you some referrals, or just simply do the sourcing on your behalf or your notepad. But the final thing, in my opinion at least, would be, you have a pen factory, you have a notepad factory, and yeah, kind of like what I was saying, you find the factory that you have a better relationship with, that has better packaging options, because the people who make pens might not be able to have the packaging to do this. Like if you're going to sell this bundle, maybe they don't have the shrink wrap machine, or like whatever it is, how you're going to bundle it. But the notepad people do, because they sell a lot of shrink wrapped notepads. So maybe you want the notepad person to bundle. So you're going to have your pen manufacturer. You'll just get all the information, the address, and you're going to say, okay, pen manufacturer, instead of shipping my 500 pens to me, you're going to ship 500 pens to this address. And you don't need to package them pretty. Like literally they can just be in a huge bag, just a bunch of pens, because the factory who does these is going to get it out of the box, put it together, package it, and have it ready for Amazon. So it just takes a little bit more communication on just kind of seeing who has the better capabilities, who do you have a better relationship with. If you want to take it even one step further, like let's say they're both good options, you could look at where they're located. So you could look them up on a map, you could get their address, or at least their city of where the factories are located. And I would personally prefer to have the factory that ships to me or to my fulfillment center near the coast, if we're talking China. So if you have a pen manufacturer in inland China, right, far away from the coast, but your notepad factory is on a port city, I want the port city doing the shipping to me. Because if you ship your port city, I think I said this one for port city, if you ship your port city notepads all the way to inland China, let's use US as an example, so this maybe makes more sense to some of you guys. Let's say this is in LA, right? The port of LA. Your pen manufacturer is in Kansas, and you live in China. Well, if you ship these from LA to Kansas to get put together, the people in Kansas are going to ship them back to LA to get them shipped to China. If you're doing air shipping, they could probably ship to you from Kansas. But long term, you're thinking down the road, you want to do boat, you want to keep your options open, that's going to be a problem. So that's just like, if you want to really geek out about the logistics of it, that's something else to consider, is where they're actually located physically.